Mr. Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. I am Pooja from Sydney. May I know who have joined today?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Nikunja Rasadas from Germantown, Maryland.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Sundar Bhandari from Maryland.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Puja Mataji and all the assembled devotees, Danvat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. This is Shamarasika Devidasi from Germantown, Maryland.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Puja Mataji, Madanat Pranam to you and all the devotees on the call. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. This is Rupini Padma Devidasi from Orlando, Florida.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandvat Pranam. Thank you for joining morning Bhagvatam class, and today we are so fortunate to have His Grace Sarvadik Prabhuji from Mayapur, and today Prabhuji will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Verse 33 onwards. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam, and whenever you're ready, please take over the call.
Okay, Haribol Mataji, thank you very much. Good morning, all devotees. Hope everybody is well. Please accept my humble obeisances. Today we're very fortunate to be reading Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 33. We'll read 34, 35, and there's a purport on 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Krishne Swadamopagate Dharma Jnana Divi Saha Kolo Nashtadushamesha Puranako Danodita Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So the first verse is Yukto Parataram Putram Hiranyakashipurusha Andhi Kritatma Swatsangan Nirasyata Mahitale. Translation. After Prahlad Maharaj had spoken in this way and become silent, Hiranyakashipu, blinded by anger, threw him off his lap and onto the ground. Ahamasha Vishadishta Kashaya Bhutalochana Vadyatam Ashrayam Vadhyo Visarayata Nairitaha. Indignant and angry, his reddish eyes like molten copper, Hiranyakashipu said to his servants, "O demons, take this boy away from me. He deserves to be killed. Kill him as soon as possible." Ayame Bharatri Hasoyam Hitvasyan Surado Dhamma Hitra Hantu Bado Yo Vishnu Dasavadarchati. This boy Prahlad is a killer of my brother, for he has given up his family to engage in the devotional service of the enemy, Lord Vishnu, like a menial servant. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hiranyakashipu considered his son Prahlad Maharaj to be the killer of his brother because Prahlad Maharaj was engaged in the devotional service of the Lord Vishnu. In other words, Prahlad Maharaj would be elevated to Sarupya liberation, and in that sense, he resembled Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Prahlad was to be killed by Hiranyakashipu. Devotees, Vaishnavas, attain the liberations of Sarupya, Salokya, Sarshti, and Samipya, whereas the Mayavadis are supposed to attain the liberation known as Sayuja. Sayuja Mukti, however, is not very secure. whereas Swarupya Mukti, Salokya Mukti, Sarishti Mukti, and Samipya Mukti are most certain. Although the servants of Lord Vishnu, Narayan, in the Vaikuntha planets are equally situated with the Lord, the devotees there know very well that the Lord is the master, whereas they are servants. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namashishtam Manumapi Sachiputra Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Gujamuripuri Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Praptayasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natusmi Vande Nantadvitashvayam Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhum Nichopi Gat Prasadat Sad Bhakti Shastra Pavartaka Nityananda Maham Nomi Sarvananda Karam Karam Harinama Padam Devam Mavadute Shiromani Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannataya Te Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vrindaye Tulsidevaye Priyaye Keshava Sata Krishna Bhakti Kari Devi Satyavataye Namo Namah Pancha Kopatu Vishta Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. In the first verse we find the words Andhikrita Atma, that Hiranyakashipu was blind to self-realization. And there's a reason for that. Not just that he's a demon, because he also had good qualities, but because he became extremely angry towards Prahlad Maharaj, his own son, we can understand that his intelligence was lost. This is described in Bhagavad Gita. Jayato vishayan pungsan sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayate. That while contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment. And from that attachment, lust arises, and when lust is unsatisfied, one krodho vijayate. Anger comes out. So anger is pervasive throughout the world, especially in Kali Yuga, because people are unsatisfied. Trying to satisfy the senses is a losing proposition. It's a Maya's trick, Maya's apparent guarantee that if you do this thing, you will be happy. If you engage your senses in sense gratification, you will be happy. But this is Maya's trick, because it will never make us happy. In millions of lifetimes, it has never made us happy. And what is the proof? Here we are in this material world again, trying to satisfy our material desires. And as a result, taking birth over and over and over again. So the result of unsatisfied desires is anger. And this is Hiranyakashipu. And this is every demon, even the little Hiranyakashipus and Ravanas and Kansas in our own heart that remain unsatisfied with what the material world has to offer. Because just like oil and water can never mix, you can put them in a jar together and shake them and shake them and shake them, but they'll always separate because they're different in nature. You can't mix them. So in a similar way, our existence in this material world is bound to make us unhappy. The soul, the Atma, is incompatible with material life. And when we try over and over again to be happy in material life, the end result is anger and frustration and fall down. Ultimately, we fall down into material life. So Hiranyakashipu has become so angry that his own son, he's pushing his own son off his lap, and not just pushing him off in a fit of anger, but pushing him off and then telling his servants, kill him. Imagine the situation. When we read Bhagvatam, we should bring our mind to the scene, not just let the words pass in front of our eyes, but bring our mind to the scene. Here's big, huge, powerful Hiranyakashipu, whose inauspicious lifting of an eyebrow would make the Devatas shake. And his delicate young boy, 5-year-old boy Prahlad, is being pushed off his lap, thrown on the ground, and condemned to die by his own father. This is the nature of material world also. Because in the material world, people use each other. As long as you satisfy my desires, as long as you make me happy, then I have a use for you. But the day that stops, we can't be friends anymore. We can't be husband and wife anymore. We can't be business partners anymore. We can't be neighbors anymore. When you stop satisfying my desires and making me happy. But this is not the nature in the spiritual world. Spiritual world means vidya vinaya sampane brahmani gavi hasinu shuni chaiva sopakija pandita samedarshan. A Krishna conscious person, a learned person, a pandit, sees every person equally. He doesn't judge them in terms of what he can get from them. He sees them, every living being, wherever there's life, there's a living being, there's Atma, a soul, part and parcel of Krishna, as lovable as Krishna. That is his vision. And he sees, how can I serve this person? How can I love this person? How can I show loving relation? Dadati pratigrinati guyam akyati pichti bhungte bojayate chaiva sadvidam priti lakshanam. How to have priti lakshanam, symptoms of love, share symptoms of love with another soul, because every other soul is completely lovable. But when we're blinded by material energy of the Lord, when we lose spiritual vision, then we become envious, we become angry, we reject each other, we want to use each other, we forget the principle of service to others. And that is applicable not just in devotee relationships, but in our relationship with other people, other non-devotees also. Because we also serve them. What is the best service? We build temples, come, take prasadam, hear something about Krishna, sanctify your life. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Come see the deity, fix your mind on the deity, bow down before the deity, become his devotee, offer something to him. This is the best service to human society. There's no service to human society equal to that. This distribution of knowledge in the form of books, transcendental literatures, prasadam, building mandirs, doing bhakti vriksha programs, preaching in colleges, harinam sankirtan. There's no higher welfare work. Typically, people define welfare work as opening a hospital, distributing food or medicine, or doing some netra yagya, some eye clinic. That's all good. We appreciate that. There is a necessity. It's a necessity in this material world because there's so many obstacles. There's so much lack in the material world. But the real lack is Krishna consciousness, because a hospital or medicine or food cannot solve the problems of life. Even the most well-equipped hospital with the most brilliant doctors and most up-to-date technology cannot solve the problem of death. Neither can medicine stop death. This is described in Bhagavatam. Bala Sneha Sharanam Pitaro Nishinga Naratasya Chagada Mudanditi Majado Taptasya Tatavidu Pratihanjin. That Bhagavatam is telling us, just like a boat on the water cannot save a drowning man, parents cannot save their own children, and a doctor with medicine in hand cannot save a dying patient. Without the mercy of the Lord, the real ingredient to our success, to our duration of life, to our happiness, to our spiritual progress, everything is dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Not medicine, not hospitals, not politics. None of these things can ultimately help us. Our real objective in life is simply to take shelter of the Lord and beg mercy. And if we do that gradually, step by step, we become free from material desires. We become free from envy. We become free from the madness that pervades this world, that is exhibited here in the character of Hiranyakashipu. He's saying, kill my son. Imagine how angry. And this is typical material. We see anyone who reads the news knows how driven people become by anger. They run their car into someone intentionally. They beat someone. They murder someone. They do insane activities driven by anger, things that they wouldn't normally do under the influence of anger. They do the most inauspicious, illegal, cruel things. So anger is our enemy. Krishna describes it as one of the gates to hell. Trividam narakasedam dharam nasanam atmana kama krodha tata lobhas tasmadita trayam tyajet. That one should give up lust, anger, and greed because they're gates to hell. That dharam nasanam atmana, they're the door to the destruction of our own self. Because what does that mean? It destroys our own self. Does it mean the soul is destroyed? No, the soul is never destroyed. But what does it mean? It's the door towards the destruction. It means it destroys life's real objective, the opportunity for life's real objective when we become overwhelmed by lust, by greed, by envy. And here we see Hiranyakashipu completely overwhelmed. So much so, he's ready to kill his own son, his own flesh and blood. Again, previously, he's cuddling him. Oh, my son Prahlad. He's smelling his head. He's fondling him. My son Prahlad. What have you learned in school? And fearless Prahlad, absolutely fearless, said Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Bhadasit Archanam Bandhanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanibin. This is the best thing I've learned. And he addressed his father, Asurya Varja, oh, best of the demons. He didn't call him father. He wasn't attached to his father. Father was a demon, absolute atheistic demon, that there's no God but me. This is the extent that his consciousness was covered. There's no God but me. So what is this Vishnu? And he became so angry and rejected Prahlad. So this is all the effect of anger. So we should kick out anger by taking shelter of devotional service, transcending the modes of middle nature, and be happy in this world. And when their purport, Prabhupada mentions, there's a verse in Srimad Bhagvatam, Salokya Sarshi Samipya Sarupyakat Samyat Ekatvam Apyuta Diyamanam Ganate Vinam Atsevanam. That there's a devotee doesn't accept any kind of liberation if it is not in Krishna's interest. If there's not the opportunity to serve the Lord, he's not interested in liberation. Materialistic demeanor means they'd rather be the Lord of hell than servant in heaven. The materialistic person wants to stay in this material. Liberation, what's that? If I have to surrender to God, liberation, forget it. And Krishna is asking, Sarvadharmam Parityaja Mamikam Sharanam, that you surrender to me, take shelter of me. I'll protect you, no problem. Masuchaha, nothing to worry about, no lamentation, no crying, nothing to fear. Take shelter of me. Open invitation. The demon will never accept. The devotee is automatically liberated. Bilvamangal Thakur said that liberation is standing at my door, begging, take me, take me, take me. But devotee never accepts this liberation because he sees, as long as we're in this material world and engaged in the Lord's service, Iha yasya hare dhasya karmana manasa gira, Krishna, karmana manasa gira, that a devotee who is engaged, karmana manasa gira, nikalapya savastasu jivan mukta uchate. Devotees jivan mukta, he's liberated in this world even, because karmana manasa gira, his words, his activities, his mind, everything is offered to Krishna, is engaged in Krishna's service. He's jivan mukta. So what is the objective of liberation? Liberation was available to the demons. All the demons that were killed by Krishna all got liberation. All the asuras on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and the Pandavas, the Kauravas, they all got liberation. They died in the association of the Lord. They all were liberated. So what is liberation? It's not such a big deal. It's not a great achievement. Salokya, living on the same planet. Sarshi, having same opulence as the Lord. Samipya, becoming a personal associate of the Lord. Sarupya, having the same bodily features. And ekatvam means to become one with the Lord. All of these objectives, which are considered individually by a certain class of person who aspires for liberation, are achieved by the devotee who goes back to Godhead, go back to Goloka. You get a body. Krishna says, Mad Bhavam. You get a body just like mine, an eternal spiritual body. We'll live on the same planet with Krishna. We'll see Krishna eye to eye and face to face. Have the same opulence of the Lord. But the difference between the servant and the master is the servant acknowledges that you are my master and I am your servant. But otherwise, he enjoys the same opulence as the Lord. A servant to the king lives just like the king. He lives in the palace. He eats the same food. He has beautiful dress provided by the king. He lives just like the king. But what is the difference between the king and the servant? The servant acknowledges, you are the king and I am your servant. So in the same way, devotees are not lacking anything if we acknowledge our relationship with the Lord and enter into the kingdom of God and serve the Lord eternally in one of many different rasas, unlimited different rasas, 5 primary rasas, but unlimited different sub-rasas. There's 390 different kinds of gopis, just different kinds of gopis, and 390 branched out unlimitedly. So that opportunity is there for us. We should understand what is our real benefit in life, and that is our real benefit. Not this liberation. Liberation is nothing. Liberation, even someone seeing Jagannath's cart is liberated. They may have to take birth again, but they're liberated. They're well on the path towards liberation just by seeing Jagannath, or to be killed by the Lord. Dantavakra, Sishupal, Kansa, Hiranyaksha, all the different demons killed by, all liberated. So what is liberation? That's achieved by the demons. What do we want? We want eternal servitorship with the Lord, to associate with the Lord. Bhagavatam says, Lord Brahma's prayers. Itam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradaya vitayana. Mayashritanam naradarakena sakam bijaru krita punya punja. 4 different kinds of persons are described. Itam satam brahma sukhanubhutya. Those persons who aspire for liberation in the Brahma Jyoti. That is possible. One can merge himself in the Brahma Jyoti, but he can't stay. Paramananda, this Brahmananda is available by Krishna sadhana. One can go there by extreme austerity. One can enter into Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti, merge in Brahma Jyoti. But Krishna says in Gita that Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashastan indriyani prakritistani karshiti. That your jiva, you're my jiva, my anksha. The jiva is anksha of the Lord. Mama eva anksha, mavaivangsho. Jiva bhuta sanatana. The jiva is eternally a fragmental part of the Lord. He never loses his identity by merging into the Brahma Jyoti. He can be there, but he doesn't lose his identity. Krishna says clearly, Jiva Bhuta, you're my angs, Sanatana. He doesn't lose his identity. The foolish Mayavadi so-called philosophers give an example of a pot. They say within the pot is some air, outside the pot is some air. So if we break the pot, the air inside the pot merges with the totality of the air. It becomes one. Or they say like a river entering the ocean. The river water flows into the ocean and becomes one with the ocean. And these are all imperfect examples, because the molecules of water and of the river and the molecules of the water and the ocean don't become one. They're eternally molecules. All the molecules don't merge with each other. They become one body, but they don't merge. And that the air molecules also, oxygen, nitrogen, they don't become one with each other. So they use this example to say this is the purpose of spiritual life. To become liberated means to become one with the Lord. This is ekatvam. So this is their Brahmananda. But they have to follow them. Padantyodho nadrita yushmadam. Krishna says they may rise by Krishna sadhana, but because they don't take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, they fall down into this material world. So this isn't a desired objective, but it's mentioned here. Some people aspire for that. Itam satam brahma sukhan dasyam gatanam paradaivatena. Other persons, they want to accept eternal servitorship of the Lord. This is very wonderful, to go to Vaikuntha and become eternal servant of the Lord. This is very wonderful, but it doesn't compare to the relationship one can have in Goloka. And we'll read some selected quotes in that regard to give us some idea, some enthusiasm for returning to Goloka Vrindavan. Because we pray every Kartik, Varam Deva Moksham Namoksha Badhimva. That I'm not interested in the highest liberation, this mukti. What do I want? I simply want to fix my mind on Krishna. Varam Deva Moksham Namoksha Badhimva Nachanyam Brine Hambare Shadapiha Idam Teva Purnata Gopala Balam Sadame Manasya Virastam Kimanyai. He's saying Kimanyai. I don't want anything else. Anything else is insignificant, irrelevant in my life. I simply want Krishna. So a devotee who has a taste for Krishna Bhakti is not even interested to go to Vaikuntha and enter into eternal servitorship mood with the Lord, to get a Vaikuntha body with 4 arms, to fly in celestial airplanes, to live eternally, eternal happiness and prosperity, no birth, no death, no old age. Even that offered to a devotee, he's not interested. Why? Because he has a relationship with Krishna. Maya Shritanam Naradarakena. The 3rd class of person is the atheist, the non-devotee who thinks that Krishna is simply ordinary boy. And that is pervasive understanding throughout the world. Even Lord Brahma was afflicted by this. He saw Krishna playing with the cowherd boys, sitting and taking prasadam, eating off each other's plates, laughing and joking, wrestling. That he's simply an ordinary boy. Maya Shritanam. He became covered by Maya. Even Lord Brahma becomes covered by Maya when he perceives the activities of the Lord in Goloka. So we should take note that we should carefully cultivate our understanding of Krishna and his Leela. And this is possible by 2 things: by hearing the Leela, by relishing Leela, but by understanding side-by-side tattva. A materialistic person may challenge us. That you mean to tell me that a 7-year-old boy, a tiny 7-year-old boy, a cowherd, lifted a mountain and held it on the little finger of his left hand? This is impossible. And to the mind of the materialist, it is wholly impossible. But to understand the Leela, one should refer to Tattva. Let us understand, who is that little boy? That little boy says in Bhagavad Gita, Mata Parataram Nanyat Kinchirasti Dhananjaya Mayi Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Maniganaiva. That there's no truth higher than me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matasavam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam. I'm the source of everything. Maya dikshena prakriti suyate satcharacharam. All material creations working under my direction. Param brahma, param dhamma, pavitam paraman bhavan. Purusham shashyatam divyam adi deva majam divam. Ahustam rishya sarve devarshi naradastata. Asita devalo vyasa sayam chaiva vradishina. All throughout Bhagavad Gita we find, who is that boy? He's the Supreme Lord. What is a mountain for the Supreme Lord? If he can create a mountain, if he can create millions of universes, yasyayika nishvati sakala matabalam vyajivanti loma vilaja jaganandanata Vishnur mahansa yasya kala vishesho Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Millions of universes come from the body of a portion of this young boy in Vrindavan, Goloka, Nath, Goloka, Vasi, Govinda, Krishna, Nandan, Yashoda Nandan, Vamsidhara, Shikidhara, Krishna, who wears a peacock feather, who plays a flute, who's the son of Nanda, the son of Yashoda. Who is that boy? He is the Supreme Lord. So to appreciate Krishna, to understand Krishna, we should understand him side by side, Leela, the extraordinary Leela of Krishna, and Tattva. What does Shastra say about this person, Krishna? Because without Shastra, what is our position? Na Shastra vinimutsaja bhartate kama karata, na sasadhim avapnuti na sukham na param gatim. No elevation, no happiness, no liberation, no spiritual progress. It's not possible if you reject Shastra. Shastras are everything. Prabhupada said, Shastra is the center of everything. How to make progress in spiritual life? By understanding and applying what we read in Shastra. Who knows anything about Krishna? Only the person who studied Srimad Bhagvatam. There are many spiritual and quasi-spiritual organizations, many spiritual traditions. But what do they know about God? What is his form? What is his activities? Who are his friends? Where does he live? What does he eat? What does he wear? They have no information about these things. They're all nirvishesha shunyavadi. One time, for some period of time, I was attending an interfaith meeting. I thought, it's good to have interfaith friends, go there, make friends, chit chat, have some discussion, hear what they have to say, let them hear us. So at one meeting, the discussion came up, is God a person? And these are all professional, they're lawyers and doctors and architects and priests and rabbis and fathers and nuns, all professional, educated. Many of them have degree in divinity, PhD in divinity. But not one of them would accept that God is a person. So I said, if he's not a person, who are you praying to? Only a person can bless you. You're praying for mercy of God. You're praying for the blessing of God. Where does blessing come from? From Brahmajyoti. Brahmajyoti can't bless you. This is the problem in India. Mayavad pervades India like anything. Brahmajyoti can't bless you. An impersonal can't bless you. An impersonal object can't bless you. Only a person can bless you. Only a person can hear your prayer. Only a person can accept you as his devotee. Only a person can be loved and express love and have reciprocation of love. So all these people, the whole world, are overwhelmed by this nirvishesha shunyavadi. We say Paschatya Desh in the West, but frankly speaking, it's all over the world. So Prabhupada came and by his preaching campaign, injected this idea, God is a person. This is what he looks like. This is what he does. These are his friends. This is where he lives. This is what he eats. This is what he wears. This is Dainum Kwanantam Aravindadalaya Taksham Barhavatam Samasitam Buddhatam Garangam Kandar Pakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaha. We have Shastra. It gives detailed, intricate, immaculate description of the personality of Godhead, what he's doing in his world, who are his friends, what is his Leela. So what is our fortune, unimaginable good fortune to have such detailed, intimate understanding of God. So the non-devotees, Maya Shitanam Naradarakenam, those who are overwhelmed by Maya, who have taken Maya Shitanam, who have taken shelter of Maya, they reject Krishna. They say Krishna is a myth. And this pervades whole media. I find it most disturbing. Whenever there's a description, like there was a discussion with Prime Minister Modi made some comment in Parliament referring to the Leela of Krishna and Sudama. How did the newspaper report it? that Prime Minister Modi made reference to Hindu mythology. Is Krishna a myth? Is Sudama a myth? Is the Leela a myth? No, your whole life is mythological. From beginning to end, your whole life is mythological. Your body, your achievements, your bank balance, your home, your car, your family, it's all finished in due course of time. So what is mythological? Their life is mythological. But they say, when it comes to the Puranas, especially Mahabharata, Ramayana, this is all, Rama was a myth, Sita was a myth, Ravana was a myth. This is all, they're cute stories, but it's mythological. It has no substance. It's a fairy tale. This has to be challenged. We should not accept such statements. Or when they speak about the deity, Lord Balaram, because the Pandits were inattentive. They're thinking about God knows what. And Balaram dropped. He fell right on his face, right on top of some Pandits, injured them. But how was it reported? The idol, the Balaram idol. Idol, the word idol in the English language is a pejorative term. It means mythological, something to be avoided, something sinful, something demoniac, an idol worshiper. That Hindus are idol worshippers. No, we worship the Archa Vigraha, the form of God, because he's a person and he has a form. If you ask them, if they say that this your picture of Krishna is a mythological, has no meaning, say, okay, give me a picture of your father or your mother. Give me your mother's picture. I'm going to spit on it. I'm going to tear it to pieces. I'm going to rub it into the dirt with my foot. How will you feel? It's just a picture, man. What are you upset about? There's meaning to form. Form has substance. And Krishna has form. We worship his form. The deity, Pratima nahi tumi sakshat brajandandana. Deity can walk. Deity can talk. He can eat. He can talk to you. Prabhupada said at one deity installation, said, this form of Krishna, one day he will speak to you. But what is required? Premanjana charita bhakti vilochanena santas sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. The saints see Krishna and talk to Krishna in their heart of hearts. Santa sadaiva. The saints, sadaiva means always, continually. They're in touch with Krishna. But who can't see him? Maya shritanam. Those who have taken shelter of Maya, taken shelter of illusion, taken shelter, excuse me, of sense gratification. They can't see Krishna. Krishna can be seen. And this is the whole idea of deity worship. What can we see? Can we see spirit with our material vision? I used to do volunteer work in Emmanuel Hospital in Portland, Oregon, in the emergency room. People come in with gunshot wounds, stabbings, horrific auto accidents, and sometimes they die right in front of your eyes. One moment, they're suffering soul. The next moment, it is a lump of matter, dead matter. But do we see the soul? That which is missing from the dead body, the consciousness, the soul, the Atma? Do we see the soul, the Atma drift off a little lights? We can't see even the Atma. What to speak of Paramatma, Parameshwar? We can't see him with our material vision. What can we see? We can see stone, we can see wood, we can see metal, we can see paint, we can see matter. But what is matter? Matter is also Krishna's energy. That this is my energy. Bina prakritir ashtata. It's my energy. And Krishna's energy is Krishna. There's nothing but Krishna. From the ultimate, absolute spiritual perspective, there's nothing but Krishna. So stone is also Krishna. But by the prayer of his pure devotee, Krishna agrees to come and accept the worship of his devotees. By love. Krishna responds to love. He responds to bhakti. I visited one time, some devotees invited me to come with them to this big, huge sandstone monument in South Delhi. It's called, what's it called? The Baps people made it. Something Brahma, anyway. Akshay Dham. Akshardham.
Swaminarayan,
Yeah. Akshardham. So it's a beautiful place, incredible architecture. But you go and you look in the temple room, it's like a museum. No life. No life is there. Because Krishna is not present. He responds to bhakti. He doesn't respond to a person who has, by votes, become God. He responds to bhakti. He becomes present in devotee's life. By bhakti, he becomes present in your own home, in your own heart, by bhakti. This is the deity. So we refer to the deity as deity, Archavigraha, as Murti, not as idol. We should correct people, especially when Hindu people, educated people who should know better, refer to the deity as an idol. This term, this English word has a very pejorative, negative meaning. So we should gently correct people if they refer to Sri Vigraha, Archavigraha, the Murti, who has life, the Lord in Vrindavan. Who is the owner of the property? Whose name is on the property deed? Govinda, Gopijana Vallabha. He's the owner of the property. He's a person. He's acknowledged as a person. He's a legal entity. He's a person. So we should understand what is deity worship and take shelter. So, but Maya Shritanam Naradaraki, they say that Krishna is all a mythological person. But what is the fourth category? Sakam Bijaru Krita Punya Punja. There's a fourth category of the most fortunate person who, after accumulating heaps of punya, heaps of pious activities, sukriti, what are they doing? They're playing with Krishna. They're playing with Krishna as equals. No conception that he's God. Subal is challenging Krishna to a wrestling match and pinning him to the ground, and Krishna is enjoying it like anything. He's enjoying losing the wrestling match. Or the cowherd boys and Krishna split into teams. Krishna's team, Balram's team. He said, let us play, let us play. And the winning team, the losing team has to carry the winning team on their shoulders. So this is the intimacy. They're wrestling and playing with each other as equals. Krishna is sitting with the cowherd boys and eating in a circle of thousands of cowherd boys. And Krishna is sitting in the center. Now, if one person is surrounded by many people in this material world, someone is seeing his back, someone is seeing his side on both sides, and someone is seeing his front. But in the spiritual world in Goloka, when Krishna sits to eat with the cowherd boys, the wild balls, everyone is seeing him face to face. And they're eating off Krishna's plate. They're snatching food from Krishna's plate. And Krishna is snatching food from his devotee's plate. And when Lord Brahma sees this scene, like, how is this person who is eating off the plates of his friends, this juta food, how is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He is unable to understand. So he kidnaps all the boys and all the calves and stashes them away. Ultimately, he becomes Vimohan because Krishna expands himself exactly as the cows, exactly as the calves and the boys. So Brahma comes back and he sees things exactly as they were. But Balaram is noticing one thing, one extraordinary thing, that the cows are experiencing ecstatic emotional attachment to their calves. Tears are flowing from their eyes. They see their calves and they come running down the mountain with their tails waving in their hands, their feet joined together, running down Govardhan Hill to be with their calf. And they're feeding their calf. Who is that calf? He's Krishna. And the mothers are tears streaming down their eyes as they feed their son, as they offer their breast to their son. Tears are, and they're experiencing ecstatic emotional attachment. And Balaram said, what is this? What is going on here? Because it was Krishna himself who fulfilled the desire of the elderly gopis. They see Mother Yashoda holding Krishna and feeding Krishna. I want to hold Krishna and feed Krishna like that. So Krishna fulfilled their desires. The cows also are in love with Krishna. They want to feed Krishna. So everyone is, Krishna does many things simultaneously. He's becoming the son of the elderly gopis. He's becoming the calf of the cows. He's chastising Brahma. He's enlightening even Balaram, who is trying to understand what is going on here. So this is Krishna Leela. And this is the Leela to which we aspire, that is our birthright, which is our legacy, by following the instructions of our spiritual master. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata devi tata guru tasyaiti katita yarta prakashante mahatmana. For that person, for that great soul who has implicit faith in the Shastra, in the Veda, and in his Guru, all the realized Prakash, all the purports of Vedic literature is revealed to him. Prakashante Mahatmana. Prakash means, like we say, Dibyagan Hriday Prakashito. By the grace of Sri Guru, we get Dibyagan revealed, manifest in our heart. So this is the process of Krishna Bhakti, to take shelter of Sri Guru, Guru Pradashraya. This is the first out of 64 items of devotional service, the very first thing. And the very last thing, one can say that everything of those 64 items, it can be distilled down to one thing, Guru Padashraya. Because by taking shelter of Guru, following his instructions, the supreme goal of life is achieved. Not otherwise. Not otherwise. Srila Prabhupada, I did some little research. That people say, we want Krishna's mercy, we need Krishna's mercy, so I'll chant very, very ecstatic japa, I'll read every day. We should do that. But Prabhupada writes in several purports that the mechanical process of hearing and chanting will not produce bhakti. Mechanical process. Why do we do it? Why do we read? Why do we chant? Why do we follow Guru's instructions? To attract mercy to us. Because it's a mercy equation. Without mercy of Guru, there's no mercy of Krishna. The central point in our spiritual life is mercy of Guru. And in our ISKCON, we're very fortunate to have the blessing of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and now also disciples of Prabhupada's disciples, acting in the capacity of Guru, Krishna's representative, the external manifestation of Paramatma, and Srila Prabhupada. Double blessing. So this is the process to get Krishna, to get mercy from Guru. And what is the legacy? What is the result of going back to Godhead? I wanted to read some things from Srimad Bhagvatam. Because this verse is preceded, this verse in Bhagavatam in 12th canto, 10th canto, 12th chapter, is preceded by the activities, describing the activities of the cowherd boys. And there's some beautiful passages in Brihad Bhagavatamrita and some other places I want to read, just that we can be reminded of why it is we're practicing sadhana. What is our objective? What is our prayojana? What do we hope to achieve by the application and following of the process of Krishna Bhakti? What do we want in life? Is it just because anartha nivriti is not the goal? Anartha nivriti goes away when one comes to nishta, when one comes to ruchi, asakti, bhava, prem, all that just rules and regulations are not the goal of life. That's dry. We should remember why we're practicing rules and regulations. And this is why. Let us read. All the boys would be differently engaged. Some boys blew their flutes, and others blew bugles made of horn. Some imitated the buzzing of the bumblebees, and others imitated the voice of the cuckoo. Some boys imitated flying birds by running after the birds' shadows on the ground. Some imitated the beautiful movements and attractive postures of the swans. Some sat down with the ducks, sitting silently, and others imitated the dancing of the peacocks. Some boys attracted young monkeys in the trees. Some jumped into the trees, imitating the monkeys. Some made faces as the monkeys were accustomed to do, and others jumped from one branch to another. Some boys went to the waterfalls and crossed over the river, jumping with the frogs, and when they saw their own reflections on the water, they would laugh. They would also condemn the sounds of their own echoes. In this way, all the cowherd boys used to play with Krishna. This is a beautiful section from Brihad Bhagavatamrita also. Krishna's friends made for him various garlands from flowers and leaves. There were flowers and leaves of tulsi, malati, and jati, malika, kunda, jasmine, and kubjaka, of clove, ketari, ketaki, and jinti, of madhavi, and 2 kinds of utika. The garlands had kanchana and karavira and shitapatri, flowers and leaves of palasa and navamali and odra and damanaka and others. There were flowers and leaves of kadamba and nipa and bakul and naga and punaga and champaka. The garlands had kutaja and ashoka and mandara. They had karnikara, asana, arjun, patala, prayaka, and still other flowers and leaves. Krishna put these garlands on himself and passed them out among his friends. Then, in a choice grove, fragrant with sweet-smelling flowers and resonant with humming bees, Krishna rested on an excellent bed made of many new soft leaves, sprouts, and flowers. The body of his dear friend Sridama provided a comfortable pillow, and countless friends served Krishna by expertly reciting prayers, singing sweetly, fanning him, dressing his hair, and massaging his lotus feet and hands. We can go there and participate in these activities. We should hear about this and remember this. It gives life to the practice of our spiritual life. It gives life to our japa. It gives life to our remembrance, to remember what is going on in Goloka, how much fun the gopas are having, how they're engaging in Krishna service, fixing his hair, decorating his body with forest minerals, fanning his body with big lotus pad leaves to cool his body, in direct association with Krishna, eye to eye, face to face. Now, this is from Hari Bhakti Kalapa Latika. The gopis serve Krishna by greeting him, offering him a comfortable seat, washing his lotus feet, massaging him with oil, combing his hair, applying sandalwood paste, marking his forehead with tilak, dressing him, offering him various foodstuff like sweet rice, offering him betel nuts, offering him flower garlands, fanning him with a chamra, and by singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments for his pleasure. The gopis served Krishna by greeting him, offering him a comfortable seat, washing his lotus feet. Oh, I put this in here twice. Okay, well, there's another verse I messed up here. There's another verse, text 11. It's similar to this. I don't recall exactly what it says. And finally, Narottam Das Thakur sings very, very beautiful song, beautiful bhajan. As Radha and Krishna relax in a solitary place in Govardhan Hill, I will accompany Lalita and Vishaka there to serve. There are beautiful lotus feet which offer the benediction of divine bliss. When will I be able to take camphor and betel nuts from a golden box and offer it in their lotus mouths? Oh, when will I be able to place jeweled ankle bells on their lotus feet? One auspicious day, I will apply sandalwood paste in a golden bowl and apply it on their limbs. With my guru, who is a Sakhi on my left side, I will take the chamara and fan the threefold bending form of the Lord. I will gaze lovingly at their lotus eyes and become overwhelmed with shivering due to ecstasy, and I will reach out to touch their lotus feet. Narottam Das, who is a servant of Lord Chaitanya's servants, has no other desire than this. So we should hear these things. We should hear what is going on in the spiritual world. And it gives us impetus to leave our material attachments aside, which will appear very dull, lifeless, and insignificant in comparison to what is available to us by the sincere, regular practice of sadhana. So by sadhana, beginning means to overcome kama, krodha, tata, lobhas, lust, anger, and greed. This is the beginning. But the end is being able to enter into the Leela of the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan, which is more than Vaikuntha, which is more than liberation, which is more than everything. And this is the highest objective of life. Sakam bijaru kuta punya punja. This is available to us in our lifetime by this practice of sadhana. So we can take lesson from Bhagvatam, this Amala Puranam, and understand that there is meaning to our struggle to overcome anger. There's meaning to our struggle to overcome lust and greed and envy and fear and malice. All the little things that give us trouble in life can be overcome. They will be overcome in due course of time. Bhagavatam describes bhakti as being so powerful that one can run through the forest blindfolded and never run into a tree, never trip, because Krishna is taking us back to his abode by this process that begins with sincere sadhana bhakti. So anyone has any comment or question? Can try and take questions if anyone has any question. Try and provide answers.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madanath Pranam, all to Shri Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, very inspiring. It makes us feel that we should be more fixed in Krishna consciousness through process of bhakti, And you were mentioning about, our chanting should not be like mechanical, right? So, I've heard this so often, like it's not, at least I'm just saying for myself, it's not easy to engage all the senses. We close our eyes, we feel sleepy, and then it's hard to engage, and somehow the other it becomes mechanical only chanting, I feel for myself. So how do we not make it mechanical? Like I feel I've been doing wrong all this time. So if you can shed some thoughts on that.
Everyone has this problem to one degree or another. Mechanical chanting means our mouth is going Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, and our mind is somewhere else. It's going in a mechanical way, and we're not dragging our mind to be in the moment, to be present in chanting Krishna's name. We're just letting our mind wander. You can be thinking about family or relationships or money or health. I mean, our nature, chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balabhadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayur eva sudushkaram. Krishna says, Arjuna said to Krishna, that the mind is very powerful, obstinate, and difficult to overcome, more difficult than controlling the wind. So this is a struggle of japa, to bring our mind to the moment, to be present. And we're not present when we're chanting japa. Our mouth is saying Krishna. Do remember Krishna? Do remember his beautiful lotus feet, his pitambara dhoti, his Vajayanti garland, his peacock feather, his black curling hair, his lotus mouth, his beautiful bimba red lips, his lotus eyes, his beautiful jewelry, his flute, his leela, his devotees, his abode. There's so much to think about, but our mind, our conditioned mind, wanders everywhere in material life. And therefore, japa becomes mechanical. We never get taste. Japa means bring yata. What is that? I'm forgetting the verse. Yato. Anyway, Krishna says, wherever and whatever your mind wanders to, due to its flickering unsteady nature, one should control it and bring it back under control of the self. Yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram tatastito neyam yatad atmaneva vasham neyat. Atmaneva vasham means bring your mind under control, because mind is subordinate to the self. We see when our mind is one. Who is seeing the mind wander? You are seeing the mind wander. Because I have a mind. I'm not my mind. My mind is astiram, chanchalam. very it's unsteady, flickering. So we have to drag it back to Krishna. And this is japa. Otherwise, it's mechanical. And some devotees, I was speaking to some devotees in Delhi. They're like all Bhakti Vriksha leaders. So one devotee asked me, said, Prabhu, I've been chanting Hare Krishna for 17 years. I'm just not getting a taste. I said, Prabhu, what are you thinking about when you're chanting your japa? What are you thinking? Where is your mind? And he said, oh, yeah. And this is our problem. This is my problem. This is all our problem. To one degree or another, when we chant japa, we're thinking about everything and anything unrelated to the task at hand. What is the task at hand? Is to bring our mind to Krishna. Krishna's form, his pastimes, his associates, his abode, his leela, gun, roop, nam, parikar, everything related to Krishna. There's so much to think about. And if your mind is disturbing you, if some idea comes up, take a piece of paper and a pen, write it down, take it from your mind and put it on a piece of paper. Oh, I have to do this today. Instead of dwelling on what you have to do today, put it on a piece of paper, leave it, and come back to hearing Krishna and remembering Krishna and seeing Krishna within your mind. Because we can see Krishna with it. We can see many things in our mind. Mind is very powerful. But japa means basically mental exercise. We say hearing and chanting, but to hear Krishna, we have to remember to actually, if we're actually hearing, we will remember Krishna. But if we're chanting mechanically, there's some sound coming out of our mouth. That's not the holy name. This is namabhas or namapara. Actually, if it's halanam, halanam means inattentive chanting. This is namaparan. So we want to chant Shuddhanam. And the effect of Shuddhanam is that we become blissful. We feel liberated. We feel enlightened. We fall in love with Krishna. And this is the objective. From Krishna Nam, we get Krishna Prem. There's no other way. Nasteva, nasteva, nasteva. You're not going to find Krishna Prem on YouTube. You're not going to find Krishna Prem on Facebook or in the market, on the internet. Where will you find Krishna Prem? Only in Krishna Nam. So we're sadhakas. We have to practice every day doing the same thing. Pick up your japa before you start meditate. Okay, now is my Krishna time. Put your mobile phone away. Turn off your computer. Sit in one place. Don't chit chat with other devotees. Turn off your phone and just chant Krishna's name. Because real name is not a combination of syllables. This is not name. The name is Krishna. Binatam nama namino. That Krishna's name rises up. Bhakti utpadite pumusa shoka mokbaya. That Krishna's name rises up when we want to be with Krishna. But if we're doing something else in our mind, or with sometimes devotees, they got their mala in one hand, and with their left hand, they're ironing, or they're straightening up in the house, or they're doing some other thing. This isn't japa. Or they've got their mobile phone and they're looking at their mobile phone. Their hand is in their japa with their mala. This is offense to Krishna. If, for example, if a great personality, say Prime Minister Modi, stepped into the room of your home, would you just sit there? Hey, what's going on? Now you stand up. You acknowledge his presence because he's an important, pious man. So our problem is that we don't acknowledge Krishna's presence when we chant. We don't allow Krishna to manifest himself because we're busy thinking about other things. This is our disease. This is mechanical chanting. So this is the number one obstacle in our japa, and it needs to be overcome. And every day, take a vow today, I'm going to bring my mind to Krishna more than I did yesterday. And every day make progress in this process of hearing Krishna, remembering Krishna, and being with Krishna, that this is my Krishna time. I'm not doing any other thing. This is my Krishna time. Don't bother me. Hare Krishna. Hope that is helpful to you, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. And I mean, we have to improve every day. We try our best to improve. And I like that point about writing it down, because sometimes these thoughts come and we dwell on it. We fear we'll forget it. And then, we are pondering over it, because sometimes some good thoughts come and sometimes we're thinking of some solution that comes to us while chanting. So we need to put it down and keep a paper pen. Maybe that will be helpful also, because then I know that I'm just I have when my chanting becomes mechanical, that means my mind is wandering. So that and I have to actually know where the mind is wandering, and just pen it down, write some thoughts down like that.
Or just
So
make some quick notes, because important things can occur. Important Krishna conscious things will come to mind also, but don't dwell on it. This is Krishna, and this is also applicable in our morning program doing kirtan. Sometimes I notice I'm singing Shri Vigrahara Dana Nityanana Shingaratan Mandira Maraj. Oh yeah, Prabhupada. For the first two verses, my mind was somewhere. Was I remembering Gana Ganatvam, that he's get like a cloud showering mercy? Am I remembering that he's experiencing Krishna prema, singing the holy name of Krishna in kirtan? Vaditramadhan, he's playing musical instruments. This is my guru. I'm meditating on my guru. No, my mind is completely gone somewhere else, thinking who knows what for the first two verses of Gurvashtakam. So while we're doing our morning program also, when we're singing Gurvashtakam, when we're singing Guru Vandan, when we're singing Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Panchatattva Mahamantra, are you remembering? Sri Krishna Chaitanya. On his right side, there's Lord Nityananda, and then Advaita Acharya. On his left side, Gadadhar and Srivas. Are we just singing the song? We should remember the personalities whose name we're reciting. We should remember the meaning of the shlokas we're singing. Bring our mind to Krishna. Be present. It's a very important principle that we neglect to practice. At least speaking for myself, I'm trying to be better.
thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, I really liked one point you mentioned in the class relating to the verse that Prahlad Maharaj, I've heard this before, that he was not calling his father like father. So, I mean, he accepted his father as having a demoniac mentality. And then fearlessly, he would talk about all these things about devotional service. So it's amazing how, he has no fear at all of his father. And then again, later on, we hear that how he was also asking for prayers for his father. So amazing. He has amazing this thing, and it's so nice how even we in our life can sometimes is it okay for us also to, because we know some people are very, very demoniac minded, very, very not in a sattvic mode at all. So, and of course they related to us also, there could be
You're stuck with them.
stuck with them. And all and the thing is, like, we keep on adjusting with them thinking that, oh, it's a blood relation Krishna has given us, and somehow we have to adjust. But but from hearing Prahlad Maharaj, I realized that we should not make adjustments. Even with such people, boldly we should tell them that this is what we follow. And so you have some thoughts to share on this also, and how we can also become like, we cannot become like Prahlad Maharaj, but how these very clear-cut understanding he has, and how he knew he had to preach to the teachers, not the teachers, sorry. Teachers he was not preaching Krishna consciousness, but to the children whenever he got time. And of course to his father also, because he asked him. So, what is the lesson we can get from this? How we can also do like him, and, feel comfortable that way, in the sense that, feel secured in Krishna consciousness. Because with us, the influence starts coming of these demoniac people on us. and we just can't say anything, we can't do anything. And we get frustrated, we stay quiet,
Devotees' natural desire is to see everyone become Krishna conscious, and that means family also. One has to be, we say discretion is a better part of valor. That one should be discreet with some people. If you're living, if you have a Hiranyakashipu in your family blood relative or by marriage relative, don't imitate Prahlad Maharaj. Better you be charming with them, because this is Prabhupada's mood also. But some people, unless they were openly atheistic, he would simply chit-chat with them. He charmed them. People gave Prabhupada lakhs and crores of rupees just by being charmed by Prabhupada. He wouldn't preach heavy to them, hammer them with Bhagavad Gita shlokas. He charmed them by his character. So for persons who are inimical towards Krishna bhakti, charm them by your personal character, by being loving, by being accommodating. And if they openly blaspheme, you should say something. If they say some openly blasphemous thing, say, I don't appreciate that. We have a different understanding based on ancient Vedic tradition, and maybe different from your tradition, but this is what we believe, and I feel offended by what you're talking, what you're saying. Instead of arguing the philosophy, which can go on and on and on, say your speech is offending me. Please, if we can change the subject. You should stand up for yourself. Don't be a doormat where people can say anything and just wipe their feet on you. Wipe their feet on your life and your philosophy and your most lovable object, Radha Krishna. If they're intelligent and if they're willing to discuss, that's different. If they're asking questions, they want to know, even they may disagree with you, that's different. But if someone's openly blaspheming, Shastra says, Prema Maitra Kripa Upeksha. Upeksha means to neglect them. But you should stand up for yourself also. If they're openly blaspheming Shastra, your guru, devotional life, devotees, say, well, that's not how we see it, and I feel offended by what you're saying. And hopefully, if they have any character at all, unless they're drunk or something, an honest, respectable person, a lady, a gentleman will stop. If they're not, even lady and gentleman, why should you even have a conversation with them? So discretion is a better part of valor. Don't imitate Prahlad Maharaj.
Okay, so thank you so much for that answer. So, I was on a totally different track. What Prabhupada gave us, just be nice to them, be a good example. And but in our mind, still we have to think, right? This person is like a devotee or not a devotee, in the sense that he doesn't have devotee traits in him.
Fan the spark. If you see some little inclination for Krishna bhakti, some shred of piety, some little flicker of piety, try and increase it. If you find someone who likes, they may be inimical towards deity worship in temples, but they like cows, and you can talk about cows, how Krishna is Gopal. You can talk about cow protection, the value of cow protection, Go Mata, Go Shala. Try and fan the flame, fan the spark, make a spark into a flame by your behavior. And if someone's inimical, the best way to get even with someone who is inimical, who hates devotees, is to be as blissful as possible, to be laughing, to have a smile on your face, to be effulgent, to be satisfied in your life. And they won't be able to stand it. No need to argue. Show by your example. This is wonderful life.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the last thing. Yeah, because generally, when we say that, devotees are paro dukho dukhi, but it goes other way around. So when you're saying the statement, if I'm happy, the other one will not be happy. And why she is so blissful? In the sense that,
people have become Krishna conscious just by being around blissful devotees. Association is very powerful. It works both ways. As their association can bring us down if we're not very fixed internally. Our association we're also affecting them in a very powerful way. I remember before I became a devotee, I was living in a communal situation. That's a whole other discussion, but living in a communal situation with about 8 or 9 other people. And we're all sitting at the table eating. I was eating non-veg at that time. I was eating chicken. And there's another person at the other end of the table. He's eating brown rice and vegetables. He's a vegetarian. To this day, I remember where he was sitting. I remember his name. I remember telling me about vegetarianism. Just the smallest thing can have a huge impact in someone's life if presented properly. Anything
Yes.
else?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the question answers and a wonderful class.
Okay. Thank you all. Have
Yeah,
a
I
blissful
have
day.
a
Have a
Hare
blissful
Krishna
day.
Prabhuji. This
Hare-
is Geeta. Thank you for your wonderful class. I just had I'm just sharing, it's I don't know how to put it, but all the friends, the Krishna Ji's Leelas and all. So I'm wondering, they also knew that he is God, right? In many ways. And yet they played with him on an equal footing.
No, some did and some didn't, and in different circumstances. Mother Yashoda, how can Mother Yashoda love him as her son unless she sees him as her son? But there are examples when she sees him as he opens his mouth and sees the whole Brahmanda within the mouth of her son. She's seeing him as God at that point. But typically the Brajbasis, they don't care whether he's God. They say, Nandamar says, he is my son. They said, your son, Krishna, must be demigod at least. Maybe he's the Supreme Lord, Narayan. No, he said, he is my son. He is my son. He is my son. And this is the mentality of Brajbasis. Because to see him with Aishwarya, to see him in opulence and splendor and majesty makes bhakti, it's called sankuchita. It shrivels, it shrinks bhakti. They want to love Krishna as their lover, as their friend, as their son. This is Braja Prem. So mostly they don't see him as the Supreme Lord.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, Partha Prabhu has a question also.
Hare Krishna, oh yes, it was such a nice class from Prabhu. I know, wonderful katha and beautifying association. I have a question regarding this the character of the demon Hiranyakashipu that is depicted here. Even his ego and his demoniac propensity is so deep rooted that he's even ready to throw his son onto the floor and get him tortured by so many means, so and kill him also. So we also see in our movement that some of the times the parents are, especially the mother, sometimes would be very against the boy to get into Krishna consciousness, become a brahmachari, and she will put so many influences to win him away from Krishna consciousness. It happens in India quite a lot. But I never seen that this mother or the father is throwing the boy down onto the ground and making the arrangement to kill him. So I don't know. I joined the Katha a little late, but it was discussed or whether what makes him different, or what is a quality that makes him different from the regular people that made him throw his own son, and then because
So the problem, Prabhu, is that parents who become inimical to their children, they suffer from 2 problems. First, they are unaware of the value of the contribution ISKCON is making to the world. Our lifestyle, our acharyas, our tradition, our shastra, they're ignorant of that. Therefore, they consider it some new Western American cult or something. Problem number 1. Problem number 2 is that they're very selfish and hypocritical. If their son is out bar hopping, partying, drinking, womanizing, using drugs, oh, he's young, let him have a good time. But if he goes to the temple and chants Hare Krishna and takes prasadam and hears a Bhagavatam class. Oh my God, my son's becoming a sannyasi. Oh my God, no, not that, anything but that. This is a most honorable thing. Any parent who has a son or daughter who becomes a devotee is a most fortunate parent in the world. They're liberated by the spiritual activities of their offspring. So there's a lot of hypocrisy that goes on. Some devotees suffer a lot, and some parents come around. I spend quite a bit of time in Punjabi Bagh ISKCON and in Rohini ISKCON, and there are several devotee families there that became, the parents became devotees because their son became a devotee. And they're initially opposed to the idea, but by exposure, by knowledge, by careful, respectful dealing, they also became initiated devotees. So both things can happen. Is a person's karma. If parents are absolutely opposed to one's becoming a devotee, that's a real problem. In that case, one has to practice Krishna consciousness in a very covert way until he comes of age, till he's finished his education. They can get a job and get married and practice Krishna consciousness or join the ashram, however he feels inspired. Because the fact is that our relationship with Krishna is eternal, and our relationship with our parents is temporary. As much as it pains me to say that, it's a fact. Parents will leave. That relationship is finished one day. Your mother will die, your father will die. It's a fact of life. We will also die. So why should we sacrifice that which is eternal for that which is temporary? To give up our eternal benefit in the name of temporary benefit, not a good plan. So if a devotee has that situation in his life, he should deal very carefully with his parents. And a lot of the problem is created by the young devotee themselves. Even I was very rough with my parents. My father expected me to become a doctor. He was an orthopedic surgeon, and he used to smuggle me into the operating room and assist him in operating. It's completely illegal. But he was so fixed that I should go to Stanford University, I should go to medical school, and I should become a doctor. And I came home one day wearing saffron with tilak and shaved head and shika. Hare Krishna, Dad. Like, what are you doing? My God, what are you? I wasn't tactful at all. Not a good idea. Deal with parents carefully because they love you. This is my advice to parents to devotees who have some difficulty with their parents. Be very respectful. They love you. They care about you. But introduce the principles of your spiritual life gradually. And many devotees do that. They may be living in a base group in India, but they tell their parents, I'm just living with some friends. Okay, that's not untrue. They're living with friends. So discretion is the better part of valor in this case also. Decide how to deal tactfully with parents so that they can be benefited. Okay.
So Prahlad Maharaj wasn't tactful, was he?
No, he was a little blunt with his father. Asurya Varja Dehinam. Asurya Varja means, oh, best to the demons. He didn't call him father. He said, oh, best to the demons. So he was rather blunt, but that's not necessarily the best path to take with our own parents, because there's no hope that Hiranyakashipu is going to turn over a leaf. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a demon anymore. This is Leela. He's a demon, died in the will, not eternal demon, but in that lifetime, demon. He's not going to become a devotee in that lifetime. So Prahlad Maharaj just in his face. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Hear about Vishnu, surrender to Vishnu, chant Vishnu, become Vishnu's devotee, pray to Vishnu. This is he's saying this is the topmost, whoever's doing this is the topmost learned person. He provoked his father. This isn't the best path for a son or daughter who's having trouble with their parents about their enthusiasm for Krishna Bhakti. Rather, they should be tactful and thoughtful how they deal with their parents, with love and respect.
And the ninth offense, not to preach to faithless people. So, is it applicable here, Prabhu?
Yes, absolutely. Great point, Prabhu. Great point. Absolutely applicable. If they don't want to hear, don't force it on, don't jam it down their throat, and argue. And if it comes to an argument, a contentious argument, you're wasting your time. Unless it's a public venue, a Sunday feast lecture, some public venue, and someone presents some apasiddhanta, then we have many arguments for them. But one-on-one with family or acquaintances, it's useless just to argue with them. Just fold your hands, Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you for your association.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful class. And I just called you last night and you kindly accepted the request. So we are so blessed to have your guidance today on the auspicious day of Ekadashi. So happy Ekadashi to all of you and thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Oh, it's Ekadashi there also. Okay, it's Ekadashi here in India also. Okay,
Yes.
happy, have a blissful Ekadashi, chant extra japa. And remember Krishna when you chant.
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthiraj,
Jai.
Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, jai Nitai Gaur.
Jai,
Bye.
jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नमाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय हिज ग्रेस सर्वदरिक प्रभु जी की जय थैंक यू
Jai.
सो मच प्रभु जी हरे कृष्णा
Krishna.